Endless Form's most martial is ending, but I didn't want to waste the only footage I have. We'll be doing 2 Reverse Melt teams, starting strong with Ganyu, and I don't use Kazuha as is traditionally used here. I use Xiangling variant instead, and it just comes down to I typically find Kazuha a little bit annoying to use, specifically in these Reverse Melt teams with an on-field cryo carry. One useful tidbit that's been going around lately is you should not avoid Ganyu's burst during her Reverse Melt team because it still adds more total damage. And one very convenient thing about the Xiangling version, if you were to get a Pyronado Forward Melt by accident, well, great. I am a skill issue player the majority of the time, so the sloppier I can be, the better. Imperfect, but plenty of fun. I gotta use Ganyu more often. I do have Wriothesley at C1, and it's a major difference in the way he consistently does big melts. If you have him at C0, he's still useful. You can sit there and just drive on his normal attacks most of the time and just get whatever melts you can, but it doesn't do the big, colossal numbers until you get a consistent uppercut. As you can see, I brought Nahida along because this is supposed to be a burn melt team, but Nahida just doesn't do that well in multi-wave, so she's really here for more of an elemental mastery buff than anything. Nahida works a little bit better on bosses for consistent burn melt application. Maybe with the release of a certain future perfumer, I'll have a better burn melt team. Let's hope so. Never underestimate your team's energy needs. I hate to use Favonius on every single team I own, but there is a reason. Thank God this last uppercut is beautiful, because otherwise it's kind of a rough run. I do have Wriothesley built a bit high on Elemental Mastery and a bit low on attack, which brings his ceiling, his damage ceiling for his punches to be a good bit higher, but his damage floor gets very low. If he's not melting, he's doing some pathetic damage most of the time. There's nothing unusual about my Xiangling. She's very standardly built. Her rolls aren't exceptional. She's very achievable, the level of Xiangling that I have with the catch. With Bennett on Skyward Blade, as you're going to see, her energy recharge matters even more. My best advice for any Xiangling player is never underestimate how much energy recharge you need. I run Bennett on Skyward Blade for the perfect mix of high base attack on the weapon and energy recharge. It's just a very nice sword, and it suits him very well. The disadvantage compared to Favonius is you're not consistently building up team-wide energy the way that you normally would. There are 2 schools of thought when building Nahida, either triple Elemental Mastery or Elemental Mastery and Dendro damage and crit, and it really depends on what team you're in. And for general use, I have her on the Dendro damage bonus and the crit, but I have an Elemental Mastery set just in case. I got lucky with my standard pulls a year ago and got the Amos bow. I'm fairly proud of how her artifacts turned out, but when you get 10 million Wanderer's Troop pieces over a couple years, you better have something good. I have Zhongli built as a shield bot. Occasionally I'll use Favonius on him because he has just enough crit rate for it. I've got the Petra set on him, which is very inconsistent because he has to be the one picking him up with his... I'm trying not to say butt cheeks, but it's too late. I actively avoid using Tenacity because his pillar, it doesn't hit consistently and often breaks, so what's the point? I'm trying to get better at making videos that don't take 4 or 5 hours to finish. This one took less than 2 hours, so we'll see what I come up with next, and here's some cake for the road.